Yes, absolutely. So our conclusion for number 3 is any serious amateur astronaut ought to choose the Exodus if she or she is interested in buying a telescope for a planetary observation. Because all of what's leading up to this is offering support for it, right? They're kind of giving us a lot of background information.
Yeah.
And then they tell us like, hey, so given this background information or given this findings, any serious person ought to choose the Exodus if she or she is interested in buying it for the planetary observation. Cool. We have our conclusion. So now we read our question type, and it says the argument proceeds by. So this is a method argument, or what I call just a reasoning question. And here, before you go to your answer choices, you just want to predict loosely, how does this author get to the conclusion? Like, what do they use examples? Do they use premises? Do they use studies? How do they get to the point where any serious person ought to choose the Exodus?
So testing, so research.
Yes. Okay. So if I were going to predict this, I would read through it and be like, okay, a number of seriously interested amateur astronomers have tested. So we like, okay, so we know that a lot of people have tested this telescope, and
Mm-hmm.
with it, they were able to observe in crisp detail the features that were seen only as fuzzy images in their 8-inch Newtonian telescopes, even though the 8-inch telescopes with their wider apertures gather more light than the 4-inch Exodus. So they kind of they tell us like what the differences between the two is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they explain them to us. And then they tell us, like, given these findings, you should choose this. So yeah, I would say the argument proceeds by using a study and giving us details of like what's relevant to maybe this planetary observation. And that's where they draw their conclusion from. So go ahead and read through these and tell me. So start with A and just read it and tell me if you like it, leave it, or hate it.
Evaluating the credibility of claims made by a particular group. Um, I would leave it.
Okay, so where do we evaluate the credibility of the claims made by a particular group?
I feel like we aren't.
Right, we're not. We don't evaluate the credibility.
Okay.
So that can't be our answer, can it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, if we were evaluating the credibility of the claims, we would be saying like somehow like these are or are not valid facts, which isn't what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go on to B.
Detailing the ways in which a testing situation approximates the conditions of ordinary use. So I would stay with that one.
Okay.
C, placing a phenomenon in a wider context in order to explain it.
What does phenomenon mean?
I would say a thing.
Yeah, placing a thing or event. So placing a thing in a wider context in order to explain it.
So I would cross that out.
Yeah, because we don't place the Exodus in a wider context to explain the telescope, do we?
Yeah, we don't. Supporting a recommendation to a group on the basis of the experience of a subset of that group. So I would stay with D.
Okay.
Distinguishing between the actual reasons why a certain group did a particular thing and the best reasons for doing that thing. Okay, so I would not choose E
Okay, why not?
because it's saying the best reasons for doing that thing, but I feel like at the conclusion is not actually saying the best reasons for doing that thing.
Yeah, what is the thing? Like that's not how we get to it. We don't distinguish the actual reasons why a certain group. We don't explain why and what
Yeah.
would be the certain group? The amateur, explaining why the amateur astronomers
Yeah.
did a particular, like, what is this, like, did a study and the best reasons for doing that study? Like, that makes no sense. All right, so now you're between B and D.
Okay, so detailing the ways in which a testing situation approximates the conditions of ordinary use and supporting a recommendation to a group on the basis of the experience of a subset of that group. So I would choose D.
Okay, so you would choose, yes, it is D, and your reasoning was fabulous that we get there by supporting a recommendation to a group on the basis of the experience of a subset of the group. Absolutely, because our larger group is the amateur astronomers, like, like just this group doing it.
Yeah.
And we're applying that to the amateur astronomer, like we're applying that to this larger group. Where B is wrong, because the reason that I kind of liked it for a second was we go into all these details on here where I thought I didn't know if like detailing the ways in which a testing situation approximates, if this
Yeah.
was referring to the results of it, which is what we're given here. But really what B is saying is like detailing the ways that the testing happened. Like, this is why this study was valid or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and we don't give that type of background information, which is why D is the correct answer.
Yay.
You're killing it.